When we wake up and we get natural light in our eye in the first half an hour, it sets up our hormones, our immune system, our metabolism, our neurotransmitters, our mental health. And what do most of us do? We wake up and look at a phone.
There is an invisible energy that's powering every single heartbeat, every breath, every thought you have right now. And it's not your blood or the air in your lungs. It is something way deeper. And modern life is really scrambling up this energy within you. It's the real reason why you feel exhausted or sick or stressed, no matter how many supplements or diets that you go on. And this invisible world is called the quantum world, the quantum field. And it controls every single cell in your body. And Big Pharma doesn't want you to know that your consciousness might be the most powerful medicine that you will ever use. Ancient healers knew this. Modern science is kind of catching up, not for another 100 years. But Dr. Catherine Clinton isn't your typical naturopathic doctor. She's diving into the cutting edge science of quantum biology, where subatomic particles and electromagnetic fields meet in healing. This stuff isn't new age fluff. It is peer-reviewed research from UC Berkeley showing how photons of light will navigate your cells with this impossible efficiency. In the next hour, you are going to discover why grounding your bare feet generates healing electrons, how water in your body creates literal batteries, and why the morning routine that you have could trigger quantum level cellular repair faster than any drug on the market. Get ready to hack your biology on the quantum level. I want you to hit play and prepare to question everything you thought you knew about health. All right, Dr. Catherine Clinton on the show, a fellow naturopathic doctor who, by the way, wanted to break out of the mold and talk about some of the wildest, mind-blowing, wait till you listen to this podcast, stuff that you will hear when it comes to health and quantum biology. I want to welcome you to the show first and foremost.
I am so excited to be here.
So excited.
Yeah.
Okay, I got some questions for you that we wrote on the rapid fire, and I just want to give the audience a little taste of what to expect. Mm-hmm. You ready for this?
I'm ready.
Okay. Everybody is buzzing, especially with Joe Dispenza stuff, about quantum healing. Mm-hmm. These tiny energy fields that can affect our cells.
Yeah.
To you, really quick, what is quantum biology, and is it just new age hype?
It's not new age hype. It actually brings us full circle back to what ancient indigenous cultures always spoke about. And it's the study of the smallest pieces of life, electrons, protons, photons of light, and how they impact the smallest pieces of our body and give rise to what we see on a symptom list in a doctor's office.
I can't wait for the spirit of this podcast covered. Okay. I want to shift it to like a little biohacking thing, actually.
Yeah.
A lot of TikTokers go, the cold exposure, that awakens the quantum body, the cold exposure, the elements, the freezing, right? The shock. From your perspective, when we talk about quantum biology and quantum healing, does temperature play a role like cold?
Absolutely. But I would say the biggest needle mover when you're talking about cold exposure, temperature exposure, is seasonal exposure and our relationship with the world around us. That's where the medicine is.
Ooh, seasonal biohacking.
Yeah.
Something like that. Okay. So people talk about energy medicine all the time. Mm-hmm. It's getting more popular, and I love that it's getting more popular. But we talk about crystals can affect the biology. You know what there's crystal, we're in LA, crystal shops everywhere.
Yeah.
In your opinion, do crystals actually have the ability to affect our biology?
I think that they are an incredible tool for receiving, storing, and emitting frequency information, that invisible blueprint. And so, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It has the potential for some of us, all of us?
I think all of us.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay. I got another question for you. Biohackers are often talking about the frequency mats, like the PEMF mats, right? Pulse electromagnetic frequency mats. Mm-hmm. Is that working on a quantum biological level? Is it affecting our cellular frequencies?
I would say yes. I would say that there is a way to look at the body where our cells are communicating with their own electromagnetic fields, and that PMF hooks into that, like two tuning forks, right? So there's this resonant communication. There's this support. There's really a language of frequency in the body, and that is what it's utilizing.
Can can changing your intentions or consciousness affect your DNA?
Absolutely.
Hey, man, I can't wait to go into that. Okay. If our cells respond to quantum fields the most, what's the quickest way we can tap into that power?
I think you just brought it up. I think that our conscious intention is the conductor of this symphony. And you and I know in naturopathic school, we talked about the body as a symphony and all these different organs and cells working together to create this beautiful song. Well, the guider of that we have control over is our conscious intention.
So you are a fellow naturopathic doctor. Shout out to, I love having you guys on the show. You're my favorite because we just on the same frequency.
Yeah.
But you and I are particularly even more on the same frequency because we said, what did we not learn in naturopathic medicine that is really important? And we sort of stepped in and pushed. And for those viewers and listeners out there, there's not a lot of people in the social media world that are talking about quantum biology, how the quantum world affects our overall health. Aside from you, when I want some cool stuff, I open your page and I'm like, I never heard of that. That's cool. I never heard of that. That's cool. And so what brought your soul into quantum biology? What pulled you there amongst all of the things we learn in school about helping, healing, herbs, nutraceuticals?
Yeah.
How did you end up in something so deep and abstract?
Yeah, that's a great question. Before I started school, the reason I started naturopathic medical school is because I shadowed a traditional midwife from Mexico. And she now calls herself a quantum healer, but that's what she was doing the whole time. And it was like the third birth. I knew I'm not a midwife. I can't do this. I need to have my clothes sign at night. They're incredible. But what she would do during hard births, she would go outside, she'd take off her shoes, and I'm 18 at the time, and I'm kind of scared. I'm like, the lady sitting here giving birth, this is a hard birth. What are we doing? And she's like, we're doing what we need to do. We're taking our shoes off. We're making contact with the wisdom, with the medicine. And so that was the first door that opened. And my father was an academic and he was really pushing for medical school. And so we compromised with naturopathic medicine. Yeah. And I got really sick in school. I got diagnosed with Hashimoto thyroiditis, ulcerative colitis, Lyme disease, GI stuff, like the domino that happens when people's nervous systems just can't handle. And I was working under a naturopathic doctor. She was also my doctor. And she was like, you need to look at psychoneuroimmunology. And she was really encouraging me to do that, to look at my own conscious train of thought, right? So that's just a big word for how our thoughts and emotions impact our body. And I really didn't want to. I was like, I'm too busy. That's a Pandora's box. I resisted. And when I did, it led me to many different things. At the time, it was like 20 years ago, and mitochondria were like hot. So I was researching mitochondria thinking, okay, I can find something here that'll help me heal. And I came across research from Martin Picard, and it was showing how our thoughts and emotions impact our mitochondria. And I was like, oh, there it is again, And then I stumbled across this early research into quantum biology out of UC Berkeley. Engel and Fleming were looking at photosynthetic bacteria and how a photon of light gets to the photoreactive center. And they saw this cool stuff like quantum tunneling where the photon can go through an obstacle, it can take multiple paths, all this really cool stuff. But the thing that blew me away was this idea of quantum coherence. The proteins in this bacteria were all vibrating in unison to keep that photon of light on its fastest path. And to me, that really blew my mind and still does today because it signifies to me this innate intelligence. There was an intelligence there guiding that collective vibration to guide that photon. And it's almost 100% efficient, that process. Way more efficient than our computers and our machines. And what is it guided by? This imbued intelligence. And so that's when I just went down the rabbit hole, and I'm still down there.
I love that. and we got you coming up for a little bit just to talk with us. So, okay, for people who don't know how to grasp quantum biology and how it's different from this billiard ball physics material world, how would you describe it?
Yeah, that's a great question, because we've been working under that model, that chemical mechanical model. So health is chemical balance and disease is chemical imbalance. And that can be a pharmaceutical, that can be a supplement, a mechanical alignment and a mechanical misalignment being disease. So we're talking pharmaceuticals, we're talking chemical interventions, we're talking surgery. But when we really look at what's happening in the body, we see that we're trillions and trillions of cells. That's really beyond what our mind can comprehend. Then if you add on to that, each cell is completing hundreds of thousands of tasks each second. Some people say in the millions, right? And that is mathematically impossible with our current model. You know, you and I both learned this idea of random collision. So you have this biological key bumping around a cell till it finds its receptor, it unlocks, and then action happens. That's way too inefficient. That cannot explain what's happening in our body, the brilliance and quantity of reactions that are happening each second. And that's where quantum biology comes in. It is a language of resonance and frequency, like two tuning forks. And there's great research out there showing evidence for this in the body, that our proteins, our enzymes, our cells are communicating with these waves of energy. And when I say that, immediately I know people, waves of energy, there she goes, right? But we do this all the time. That's how we get our notifications. That's how we charge our cell phones. This is something that we're used to utilizing all the time with technology, and we don't realize that it's happening inside our body.
So to understand, for someone simple-minded like me, we have cellular processes that are happening, and they are all simultaneously at the same time or individually instructed by waves of energy?
I think they're individually.
Individually.
Yep.
So trillions of cells individually be instructed by different waves of energy that are affecting the coherent pattern of proteins within the cell.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And so you look at some of the arguments against quantum biology, right? Where they say like, well, it just happens so fast. It's not a sustained reaction. Well, you wouldn't want a sustained reaction if you're trying to have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of them per second, right? We're talking about a really fast, really efficient way of communicating in the body, way of transferring energy and information, just bip, bip, all over the body. And that is exciting because that chemical mechanical model has been great. You know, we like our acute care. It's been incredible, but there have been some dead ends. And what a quantum biology approach to health offers is a really fast and efficient way of transferring energy and information in the body that relies on waves of information.
Okay, so the viewers and listeners right there, we're going to go into, don't worry, you might not understand this now, but don't worry, we're going to make it relevant to you and your life. Because anytime you hear, so I remember in 2007, I was on my big old computer in my parents' house, and I was watching videos of this guy, John Hagelin. Do you know who John Hagelin is?
Yes.
You do?
Yep.
Not a lot of people know him. Okay, I was watching videos of him, and he was really into the quantum physics world.
Yeah.
And I had just started meditating, and I'm sitting there and I'm listening to this man talk about consciousness, but in the form of science. And I lit up every part of me. And I was in physics class at the university, and I was in shock that this made me feel more alive than anything I learned in school.
Yeah.
And so I've had such an appreciation for quantum physics that I have a tattoo of Schrodinger's cat on my arm that ended up looking like two cats humping each other. But it's really Schrodinger's cat. It's one cat, actually dead and alive. But I do believe that this world is not only the most intriguing mystery of life.
Yeah.
I really do. And the Egyptian pyramids, those two are just, I think about them every day.
Yeah.
But all that to say, how does this quantum world that we don't see with millions of reactions per second, per trillions of cell, how the heck does it affect the whole? Does it mean like my eczema is affected by quantum?
Yeah.
My asthma is affected by the quantum world? Where is this bridge and connection?
Yeah, that's absolutely what it means. It means that those small interactions are turning the gears to the bigger reactions we see all around us. And this encompasses a lot of different things, right? When we're talking about waves of energy, we're talking about light, we're talking about sound, we're talking about EMF, we're talking about electrical fields, magnetic fields, we're talking about conscious intentions, we're talking about the unknown, the quantum field, the universal field. We're talking about all of that and how it holds information. I mean, if you look at the transfer of light, that is fast.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, super fast.
Yeah. And so there's a way of communicating. I mean, we could talk all about light communication in the body and what's been set up in the body. It's absolutely incredible. And we're at a time now where we're starting to understand this and utilize it in medicine. I mean, we see high intensity focused ultrasound being used to treat really hard, to treat cancers without any side effects. We see light therapies being used with high success without the side effects. And I think that we are now at a time where we've kind of really gone far into the division, and now we can swing it back for a reconciliation between ancient medicine, modern medicine, quantum medicine, and have a completely different, expanded approach to healing eczema, cardiovascular disease, Alzheimer's.
With frequency.
Yeah.
So this is what people say when they say frequency healing. They're talking in the quantum world.
Well,
for the most part, there might be some scam things too, right? But the real frequency healing approaches the influence on these biological processes in our body.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah. I know some people use frequency just as sound, right?
Yeah, like is sound bowl healing by quantum medicine?
Yeah.
Okay, sound bowl healing. Because what's happening? We're getting these waves coming from the sound bowls that are going through our nervous system and are permeating through our cells. Nearly 47% of all protein powders that were tested exceeded California's Proposition 65 safety limits for lead. Get this for real. 21% contain more than double the acceptable amount of this harmful heavy metal that can affect your brain. But I want you to think about that for a second. So many people, might be us actually, so many people consume protein powder daily thinking that they're doing something healthy for their body, and they have no idea that they're likely consuming lead above safety limits. It really defeats the purpose of trying to fuel your body with quality nutrition. And you probably heard me talk about how important it is to get 1 gram per pound of high quality protein every single day. I've done shows on this. Now, the problem is not all protein's created equal, and clearly not all protein powders are safe. You need protein that your body can actually use, that is not contaminated with heavy metals, that you can consume yourself or give to your kids. I love Peori. You know I love Peori. It's one of the top companies on Heal Thyself. Peori's PW1 whey protein is one of the top proteins out there. In the recent Clean Label Project study, Peori was the only brand that was both Clean Label Project certified and had the Clean Label Project Transparency Certificate. They're literally the only brand in the entire protein powder category with this level of certification. Every single batch of Peori's whey protein is third-party tested by the Clean Label Project for more than 200 contaminants, lead, heavy metals, pesticides, you name it. And the best, there's a QR code, boom, you could see the results for your batch. They are the most transparent company out there. Every serving gives you 21 grams of minimally processed, clean level, high quality whey protein from grass-fed cows, no hormones, no GMOs, no pesticides. It comes in 2 flavors, vanilla and chocolate. So if you would like to get your hands in one of the top quality proteins, you get 20% off site-wide at Peori.com rewire.com/DrG and use the code DrG at checkout. The code even works on the already discounted subscriptions, giving you almost a third off the regular price. That is PUORI.com/DrG. The code is DrG. Here's something that may hit home for a lot of you. How many of you toss and turn in your sleep? How many of you wake up really easily through the night? How many of you wake up exhausted even after you know you've been in bed and you slept for 8 hours? I've been there. It's frustrating. Actually, I'm more sensitive of a sleeper, so I'm in there fairly often if I don't do the right things for myself. It's not that my mind won't shut down. I can go to sleep. It's that I wake up easily. But some people, their mind won't shut down. Now, a lot of you rely on melatonin, like many people do. It works, but I've taken it before. It gives me the weirdest dreams. It keeps me super groggy. The next day, I know the morning's harder, sluggish. It's even into the afternoon for me. So I knew I wanted to support my sleep. I know a few of my friends who really benefit from CBD sleep gummies. And I said, let me give it a try. I researched what are the best CBD sleep gummy companies out there. There's not a lot. The gummy industry inherently doesn't really care about creating purified, clean gummies, not like cornbread hemp. Cornbread gummies, the CBD ones, have been a game changer for my nighttime routine. I spoke about this for many months. You might have heard me talk about this before. They have a USDA organic, melatonin-free CBD gummy made in America, which means you get all of the natural sleep support benefits without any of that morning grogginess. And it's real. It's not a fake formulation. You're taking full spectrum, flower-only hemp extract combined with natural botanicals like valerian root, lavender, and chamomile. These ingredients have been used for centuries. They're evidence-based. They promote relaxation, a restful sleep. And when you combine it with CBD, especially the full spectrum one, your whole system calms down. And I'm talking about within an hour to an hour and a half before bed. You take it 2 hours, you might not make it to the bed. You might fall asleep on the couch. But what happens is your whole nervous system feels really calm. You start getting tired. And if you couple these with blue blockers, you will be out. It's a little, I'm telling you the nighttime hack. You couple it with blue blockers, you eat your gummy. It is incredible. And you're not groggy, you're not sluggish. And it's like your nervous system is really winding down. Cornbread Hemp is one of the few companies that cares about even producing organic gummies. They're vegan, gluten-free. They're made without any sugar coating, clean, natural ingredients that you could pronounce, no synthetic compounds, no questionable additives, pure organic wellness. If you're looking for a way to wind down, one of my favorite ways is to go with the Cornbread Sleep Gummy, the CBD one. Right now, they're offering you 30% off of your first order. Go to cornbreadhemp.com/DRG and use the code DRG at checkout. That is CORNBREADHEMP hemp.com/DRG. The code is DRG for 30% off.
Absolutely. They're pressure waves. And those pressure waves hold energy and information. And we can see, take pain, for example, right? The idea of the pain gate theory, that when you experience pain, you experience it until those gates close on a neuron. And what can make them close? Pressure, right? You bump your elbow, right? We've all done it. It hurts so bad.
We hold it.
We
hold it and we squeeze it.
We hold it. We try to put that pressure on it instinctively. And there's so many examples we could go into about waves, and they're very different. That's the interesting thing about frequency is some people are saying frequency, they mean sound. Some people are saying frequency, they mean pulsed electromagnetic fields. It's all different, except it's all the same. It's all waves of information.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's each wave has a packet of information that that is transduced to our cells in its own language.
Yeah.
Or is the wave in itself just a language that catalyzes a process in the cell?
Yeah.
Okay, so these cells are hanging out, doing their things, and are they being inundated with waves nonstop all the time as information?
Absolutely. And they are creating their own electromagnetic fields. And Michael Levin has done incredible research. He's so prolific. He's publishing like 30 studies a year, and he's looking at the electrical capacity of the body and how cells communicate with electromagnetic fields. They guide their behavior. They guide their movement. They guide differentiation, how a cell becomes an ear or an elbow. That's all guided by these unseen invisible electromagnetic fields that each cell creates, that each, I mean, if we want to go down, 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 each molecule, each atom, each electron, each proton, they all have their own unique electromagnetic field that communicates information, and it holds energy. So it can actually give energy for biological action to happen. Not only has an information instruction, like do this, but it also has energy for that process to occur.
One thing that I recall is when John Hagelin, when I was listening to these videos, the one thing that always stuck with me is he said, the further we go down the further we go down from the organs to the cells to the organelles to the subatomic particles, the more intelligence there is. There's deeper intelligence the closer we get to God. And it kind of blew me away where I was like, all right. So then those subatomic particles, which create our cells, which create our tissue, which create our anatomy, are working at an intelligence far beyond which we'll ever understand.
Yes.
So are we just trying to understand it with something called quantum biology? Are we trying to like put our grasp on it?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. I haven't heard him say that, but that's the exact same thing I was talking about with that quantum coherence and the proteins vibrating in unison. There's an intelligence there, and there's an intelligence at the smallest levels. And I love research. I love learning about this stuff, but sometimes I have to pull back and be like, oh, we're never going to know.
We won't know.
Yeah, this is just an exercise in awe. And maybe that's what we're here to do. Just
be in awe.
Be in awe.
I wonder now, okay, so you've been researching this, you've been seeing the like learning and putting together this body of work and understanding, right? And we have these biological processes that can actually affect our health or for the better or for the worse.
Yeah.
What is instructing these cells to do what they do? Are those fields coming from nature? Is it just a byproduct of being on Earth? Is it some cosmic alien field? Is it a field that we just call God? Or is it just like man-made fields like EMFs and pollution? Or all of it?
Yeah, all of it.
I knew it was all of it. I saw you waving your head. Okay. So all of those things are affecting us all the time.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So we're just receiving and receiving and receiving nonstop.
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay. So what is a clear field feel like? Where are we getting the clearest field from? If we get out of EMFs, is God in nature giving us the clearest fields for our biological processes?
I mean, I think that's a really fun question.
Yeah.
I don't think we know, but that's where I would lean, right?
Yeah.
That's where I feel the clearest, the most intact, the most aligned, whatever you want to say, in nature. And then there becomes this question, well, is that just an embodiment of God? Well, aren't we just an embodiment of God? Isn't it all just these invisible waves giving form?
Yeah.
Informing matter, so it's fun.
That's the quantum physics piece, right? Like,
yeah,
just this ocean of waves that are informing matter, and you're a ripple and I'm a ripple, but we're the same ocean. And
yeah.
Okay, so I get this concept that our biology is influenced by these waves. How do we now start making it tangible with disease?
Yes.
There's people who are suffering with physical health issues.
Yep.
Is then that fundamentally just an incoherent wave in the system?
I would say that it is a block in the energy, And again, that starts to sound like, energy blocks, what she's talking about. I'm talking about a misalignment with some key signals. Let's take light, for example, right? We're now there's real respect and understanding now of our circadian biology. When we wake up and we get natural light in our eye in the first half an hour, it sets up our hormones, our immune system, our metabolism. It sets up our neurotransmitters, our mental health, all of these things, right? And what do most of us do? We wake up and look at a phone. And that lighting is just a very narrow band of blue light that tells our body it's noon. It's like a total hit to our cortisol. Our nervous system's like, we're already behind. It's noon. Like, go, 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 where we're supposed to be outside, getting that bird song, hearing the breeze through the trees, getting that light in our eye, getting natural light breaks throughout the day, and then lowering the light at night. There's as much medicine in light as there is in darkness. And when we can lower the lights at night, in my house, we moved to salt lamps. I've probably got 10 of them around the house. The kids have no blue light readers that they can put on their books, or we can put on board games. We live in 2025, so we have blue blockers so we can watch movies and stuff together. And you can say the exact same thing with darkness as you can with morning light, right? Setting up hormones, immune system, metabolism, neurotransmitters, all of that happens in darkness too. And so just aligning with the rhythm of the sun. So when I am talking with patients, I'm just kind of inundating them with the science. I'm like, this is real, this is important. And they're getting this kind of checklist. Make sure you go out in the first 30 minutes of waking. Make sure you pair that with a meal, some movement, some gratitude. Take natural light breaks throughout the day. 10, 15 minutes can really inform the body, because that's the signal we evolved with. It's the strongest. When you talk about cells getting all this information, yeah, they are, but they're primed for some primary signals, and the sun is one of them. And then lowering the lights at night, and that they leave with a checklist. But to be honest, I am really excited, because I know, just like it was for myself, it was a checklist. Okay, get out of bed, go ground and go. But it turned into a relationship. So when I see the sunrise in the morning, I am happy to see that sun. I feel met. I feel seen. I feel held by the ground beneath my feet. It is this unconditional envelope of love and acceptance. And our human relationships are just as important, but they're much stickier, right? The sun doesn't care what you did yesterday. It's always going to rise and greet you in the morning. The ground is always going to hold you. And so those checklists become relationships that feed that nervous system, that feed that sense of belonging, that sense of safety that so many of us are missing right now.
The relationship pieces, that's a sustainability of whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
You have to create a relationship with it such that you feel
Yeah.
met or nourished or connected, or it's cultivating something inside of you.
Yeah.
And so the value, your unique value, whatever shifts that you make, you got to find it within yourself. Even if you know going out and seeing the sun is great, if it's a checklist thing, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
It's not going to be consistent.
Yeah.
So my understanding then is light plays a major role on our biological processes. We know that.
Yeah.
And you're talking about it from a quantum level. It actually does affect our cells because the light is information.
Yep.
Okay. We mentioned early in the rapid fire questions that our own relationship to our own self,
Yeah.
is that in itself waves of information to our cells as well?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Would you say that that is the most consistent one maybe of all?
Yeah. I mean, that's hard because nature's also consistent.
Yeah,
you
nature's
know?
always consistent.
But it is primary. It is primary.
To our own overall physical health as well?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And we can talk from a chemical model of how different thoughts allow for different hormone secretions and responses from the immune system, inflammatory responses. But there's something else happening in the body when we have a conscious thought. Some say that there are direct actions. So when our neurons fire with a thought, there are inelastic collisions of the molecules in the neuron that create a light signature. And maybe that is what affects this signal in our body. we don't really know what it is that's creating it, but we know how powerful it is. And that capacity to resonate and be coherent. I think that, time and time we come back to this idea of safety and whether we feel safe, whether the body feels safe, whether it can repair. And our thoughts are a primary driver of that. And like you said, maybe the most important, because if we think about it, some of us don't even have access to nature. We can be sitting inside, confined, but we have access to our thoughts at all times. Somebody asked me recently, they worked with inmates, and they were like, what do you say to these people that don't have access to going out 30 minutes after they wake up and all? It's like, well, you have access to your mind, and we have access to the understanding that it isn't perfection, right? That checklist of do this, do that. This idea that we are supposed to be in loving gratitude, in kindness, heart-brain coherence, which is beautiful. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love heart math. In fact, we're doing research right now with UC San Diego and looking at the effects of heart coherence on mitochondrial function. So I'm all about it. But I have a little bit of friction with this idea that we have to stay in that state of grace or gratitude because we're humans.
All the time.
Yeah. We get angry, we get frustrated, we get jealous, we have all these different feelings. And I think that when we have an understanding that there's power and beauty in that, when we talk about quantum biology, one of the things I love is that when this research started coming out showing that, hey, living systems actually have quantum effects, right? All these things that researchers used to cool the research lab down to absolute zero, where no life can exist. They shield it from any noise, any heat, any temperature. That's an artificial environment. And when this evidence came out, they were like, absolutely no way is this possible. Like a living system is noisy and chaotic.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of it. It is that messiness of being human that allows for this incredible communication in the body. And so even if we are confined inside and can't do any of the things that we might want to do with aligning of the sun, going out in nature, grounding, we have the capacity to know that our mind is beautiful. And even when we don't think that it's beautiful, it's still beautiful. It's amazing. And being human is messy, but in that mess is the backdrop for this incredible communication and interaction that's happening at all times. I mean, I test heart coherence with EKG leads, and I've seen patients who are experiencing tremendous negative emotions, you would say, right? Grief, rage at loss, partner activities, and their heart coherence is off the chart. And it's because they are feeling those emotions. They're not judging them. They're not turning into blame or shame. I think that there's power in understanding that we're humans, and that's beautiful. And this unattainable kind of list of perfection isn't where it's at.
Oh my God, I know. And comparison, and you look all over, you turn on your phone or computer and you see it all. And it's one thing that really intrigues me is the possibility that our field, first of all, do we have our own field?
Yes.
Okay. Can my field affect your field and vice versa?
Absolutely.
Okay. In what way? Let's say my field, oh my God, I had a hard day and I got a phone call and I'm angry and I'm sad and all this thing. Can my field affect your cells? Let me talk to you something that has been a total game changer in my home, and it's probably not what you think. It is an air purifier, because what we breathe in matters as much as what we eat or drink. And air quality in our homes can be filled from everything from mold spores to pollen to smoke to allergies. And air purifiers are so important. Most of them are going to be in plastic boxes, make a lot of noise. And then I discovered the Jasper. The Jasper was brought to me by my sales team, and they said, this is a fantastic air purifier. And I looked into it, and it was true. I love it so much that I got the founder on. And what immediately caught my attention is the design. It's so many of the air purifiers are clunky, antiquated looking, 90s looking, and this is sleek, quiet, and powerful. But here's what really got me. It's built with steel, not plastic. So we're talking about machines that are actually built to last. So Jasper handles everything from smoke to mold to pollen, all the allergens that make you feel terrible without you even realizing why. Whether you're dealing with seasonal allergies, live in an area that is susceptible to wildfires or smoke, or just want the cleanest air possible in your home, get this. I am confident that you will love it. It has a lifetime warranty. Yes, lifetime. That tells you everything you need to know about the quality and engineering that goes into these units. Since I've been using my Jasper for about a year now, I have 2 running. One's on the first floor, one's on the second floor. Ooh, I have 3 actually, 1 first floor, second, third floor. And I've noticed cleaner air, better overall sleep, and just an overall sense that my home environment is clean. The air is nice. We tested it. We have people come in and test the air and they say the air is super clean. Thank you, Jasper. Go to jasper.co/DRG and use the code DRG for $200 off for a limited time. That is JASPR.co/DRG. The code is DRG.
Absolutely. So HeartMath Institute has done incredible research showing that within ourselves, there's heart coherence, and our heart is really the conductor of that, right? It has the biggest electromagnetic field of the body, and it can entrain the brain. So they work in coherence. Coherence meaning 2 or more things working together. 2 people dancing the tango, right? So the heart and the brain are dancing the tango. They're getting down. They're working on the same page. They're working together. And when that happens, it sends out a ripple of coherence throughout the body. It affects the nervous system, the immune system, digestion, all of these different things. That coherent field, when we talk about the electromagnetic field of the heart, it extends out around us. You can measure this, right? And HeartMath Institute has done this. And it holds information. And that information can be picked up on the people around you. And so we're talking about coherence in ourselves. We're talking about coherence in our community, in our interactions. And if you know John, then you know probably the research around seasoned meditation practitioners who get together and they concentrate on coherence and lowering violence. And they've done this in New York. They've done this in the Middle East during wartime. And they couldn't explain it by any other thing but that these people have gotten together and acted as a group. And that coherence of their meditation has lowered the violent acts, crimes in New York, war crimes in the Middle East. So there's a coherence within ourselves, within groups, within our community, and then within the greater society, which is really exciting. Roland McCready out of HeartMath Institute has done really cool research with trees and our coherence and the trees' coherence and the intermingling there, the capacity for our state of coherence to affect the geomagnetic pulse of the earth that we live on. I mean, it's incredible.
It seems like we're all connected.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing to everything, actually.
Yeah.
Including Earth and each other.
Yeah.
And we all have an influence.
Yes.
Gives us a lot of responsibility. Better watch out what we're thinking or feeling, or at least being aware of it, right?
Yeah.
Those packets of information that affect our cellular biology, that can affect our overall health, including physical and mental. What role does emotions play? What role do emotions play on our quantum biology, which affects our overall health?
Yeah, that's a great question, and kind of ties back to what we were just talking about. I think that the research clearly shows that a state of gratitude, a state of love, of joy, of awe, those impact our biology in predictable ways, as does anger, as does grief. And I think that the true power, when we hear that, you know, sometimes even myself, I think, oh, I'm not always like that, right? There are times when I get angry or sad or overwhelmed, frustrated. And I think that the way that those predictable emotions impact our body, what's most significant for us to understand is that all of those emotions are normal. Some of them are more beneficial for our body, but being authentic with ourselves and really experiencing whatever that emotion is medicine. Running away from anger, suppressing it, grief, whatever it may be of those termed negative emotions, that is the kernel of disease, right? And I think we've all experienced that, where we've had a moment of grief or anger and we just let it flow and then it goes. And what's on the other side of grief? Love, right? On the other side of anger, contentment. And what we see with working against our biology, working against our cells and our health, is that friction we have. We get angry instead of feeling it. It's uncomfortable. So I blame you. I turn it on you. Or I feel grief and it's uncomfortable. So I stuff it somewhere. Or I feel jealousy and I feel shame about it. I think that being authentic and true to ourselves, because there's power in grief, there's power in rage, there's power in all of those things, and worth. And it's the being stuck in them and stuffing them in places where they're meant to move. And so I think the effects of emotions are predictable, but what's even more powerful is understanding that we're meant to flow with them and be authentic with them.
When we have that friction where we don't allow ourselves to flow with them and go on the other side of those emotions with all those beautiful expressions after, do they get stuck in the body? Do you believe that they get stuck somewhere in the body and start affecting the cells through the nervous system or something? How do you foresee, if emotions are energetic expressions and that energy is not allowed to move, where does it go quantum wise?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'll just be upfront, I don't know, but I have some ideas, right?
Yeah, let's go on.
Yeah, there's really interesting research with fascia, right? Fascia is that fabric that connects every single structure in the body. It starts at our most external layers. It goes all the way down to our bones. And it's connective tissue made mostly of collagen. And collagen is really incredible when you start to look at it. It's a semiconductor, so it can transfer this information. Our fascia is piezoelectric. So when we compress it, it creates an electrical charge. And there's research out there showing, and let's be honest, there's decades and decades and decades of anecdotal evidence. I mean, we could say centuries probably of body workers saying, I do work on a stuck tissue and an emotion is released. Now we're starting to see that with measurements, right? They did, I think it was 2023, this study where they took women in the fashion industry and they were stressed out, working long hours. And they said, okay, you guys, we're going to take you and put you into two groups. You guys just go and rest, which is an intervention of itself, right? Rest is great. Then they took the other group and they gave them a fascial release of the occipital area where the head meets the neck. And that group, it dramatically impacted their heart rate variability, their heart coherence, their blood pressure, their respiratory rate. And then you start to see the research that's come out in the last year that shows that if you have stuck tissue in the fascia, then there's an association with anxiety and depression. And when you treat that area of stuck fascia, that subsides. There's a decrease in anxiety and depression without any other intervention. And so then you start to think, and there's research out there about acupuncture and meridians and how they kind of lay on these fascial lines.
Yeah.
And we're back to this ancient idea of energy flow throughout the body, and any obstruction to that flow being the start of disease. So is emotion held in our fascia? I would say so. Is it held in our cells? There's really neat evidence about that that came out last year as well. Cells outside of the brain holding memory. And if this is energetic, why wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Right? If it's held in a wave, why wouldn't it be in all of those different things?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, oh God, I love fashion. Thank you for talking about it, because it's just such an incredible network of mystery and intrigue, and the cells of the fascia hold memory, right?
Yeah.
Like, so our whole system holds that memory.
Yeah.
And the cells of the fascia, they'll distort based on something that is being held, or a trauma or a bracing pattern. So for me, it's just incredible that the body will always continuously know how to adapt to the environment.
Yeah.
But when you said blocks in our system, is that a block in our system then, where the fascia is sort of tied up or braced or stuck or inflamed? Is that a physical block to the energetic flow that keeps us in physical health and mental?
Say absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Because just from an engineer perspective, right? You've got this fiber optic quantum communication network that is the fascia. And if it is stuck or adhered or kinked, it's like a kink in the hose, right? You can't have the information flowing. And I think that we're starting to see what we've kind of always known in the world of body work and physical touch and physical medicine, that people hold this tension in their body. Looking at like Stephen Porges' work and the polyvagal theory, and this idea of bracing, and how you can experience psychological trauma and kind of have this posturing that exists after that. And what's held in that posture, right? What's held in those stuck tissues, I think, is that memory. And so it's incredibly powerful to work with people on that level.
Quantum healing doesn't follow the laws of time. Am I correct? It's just a sort of a instantaneous now moment type thing.
Yeah.
Is that true?
I think we could, if we were sophisticated enough, we could kind of maybe measure it by time.
Yeah.
But it's happening so fast. The speed of light is pretty instantaneous.
So then, would it be safe to say that a disease process can be healed at the speed of light?
I think so. Yeah. I think that's
on a quantum level.
Yeah. I think that's what we're talking about with radical remission, all of these things that people can't explain, but we can if we look at it at a different level, Yeah.
I'm going to tell you something. When I did my residency in oncology, integrative oncology, that was my passion. And because my mom died when I was in school, 2011.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so I kind of catapulted towards oncology. And I ended up seeing a lot of people. It was in a hospital setting, and it was 2 years. And I am built very well for noticing patterns. I didn't know that back then, but I know it's the work that I do. I look for patterns in the body. The pattern that I noticed was the people who really overcame cancer, the people who didn't come back, the people who were survivors, quote unquote, actually had a new relationship with themselves first, and then their environment, the people around them. But they were the people who made that radical internal change. They might still work at the same place. Much of them, they just go, why am I here? What am I doing with my life? Those are the people who go, I always wanted to live in the woods. I always wanted to be in nature.
Yeah.
What am I doing with my life? Those are the people who goes, why haven't I painted? All I wanted to do was paint all day.
Yeah.
Those are the people. And talking to you, I'm starting to think to myself, Was it a quantum shift? Was it a relational shift that was sending out waves of information to the cells saying, hey, the disruptive energetic wave that was feeding you this biological information that was not for health shifted? Would you say that that sort of might have been what was going on for these people healing?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I've been really excited about this research. Very nerdy, but these two researchers, Dirk Meisner and Hans Giesink, they've studied hundreds and hundreds of substances, living things, clays, rocks, and they found this harmonic ordering of frequencies. So everything, if we looked at the periodic table, everything on it has its own resonant frequency or vibration. And that's what they were measuring. Like, what are the resonant frequencies of these things? And they found this harmonic patterning of 12 different frequencies across the board. Didn't matter if it was a rock or a mitochondria, right? There are 12 distinct, and they're different because they're different things, but there are 12 different frequencies, and they alternate between healthy and unhealthy, healthy and unhealthy. And the capacity for us to shift into a healthy one or an unhealthy one just with our conscious thought is so exciting. That's so empowering for us to understand that we can give out that frequency. We can embody that on both sides and have the power to shift instantaneously.
I love this, but I want to ground it in some more tangible take-home perspectives for the viewers and listeners.
Yeah.
Because it could be very abstract and people can feel helpless getting the idea, but not actually holding it and grounding it.
Yeah.
So what does all of this look like? Having healthier exposure to waves? Is that like reducing my EMFs at night, aside from waking up in the morning and turning off the lights at night? What are the things that we can do to optimize our quantum health, our quantum biology?
Yeah, let's talk about a few of them.
Yeah.
So you brought up EMFs. That's a great thing to look at because, like we were talking about earlier, our cells communicate with electromagnetic fields. So we should be tuning into that. And we are inundated with man-made electromagnetic fields, and they aren't as healthy for us as natural ones. But we live in this world, right? And they provide such convenience. So what do? Some things we can do. We can turn off the router at night. We can remember the distance rule, right? The law of inverse squares, this idea that the closer the emitting object is, a router, a phone, is to our body, the more it's going to affect us, right? Some people listen to this, okay, I'm in an apartment. I am surrounded by routers all over the place. I can't tell my neighbors what to do. That's okay. Remember that if it's not right next to your body, the effect goes dramatically down each step away you take from that source of EMF. And then also remembering the power of grounding, right? Like our earth is covered in this infinite sea of electrons, creating that negative charge. Our body runs on an electrical charge, a negative electrical charge. Our cells do. And when we connect with nature, it's this instant calibration, right? And you can look kind of down through the times where if you make contact with the ground, let's say you're gardening, let's say you're touching a tree, let's say you're barefoot on the beach in the grass, that change is instantaneously affecting your biology. It's instantaneously balancing that nervous system. It starts to decrease inflammation. Then you go into the hour time mark and it is affecting the cardiovascular system. You go in the 24-hour period. I mean, you see that it gets more and more dramatic the more time you're outside, but just going outside for a few minutes and doing that can recalibrate that system. And I think that remembering that we're resilient. So being mindful of that, just like toxins, right? We want to be mindful of toxins in our environment. Do we want to live with that fear over everything? No, not at all. We're resilient. We have detoxification pathways for things we haven't even created, right? So same things with EMF. Make sure that you can get a break from it. Make sure you're getting out in nature, and make sure you're understanding about this distance rule. And the further away it is, the better it is. You can wire stuff in your house. You can wire your computer. You can hardwire your phone. There's lots of different options out there, but those are some really simple things you can do. When we're talking about these waves of energy and how can it help us, grounding is a huge one. When I go outside, my morning routine is I wake up, my eyes aren't even open yet, and I am grateful. I do this thing with my eyes that makes a little sparkle when my eyes are closed. And to me, I'm like, that's my signal, world. I'm letting you know how grateful I am for waking up. I'm letting you know how grateful I am for my family, for my friends, for my community, for the land I live on, this earth that I reside on. And just like a ripple, I'm grateful for it all. It takes 10 seconds. Then I get out of bed. I do a little stuff. I go outside. I put my bare feet on the ground. I shake and get my lymph moving. I am outside. I can hear the birds chirping. So my nervous system goes, okay, you're safe. I can hear the wind through the trees. That is an enormous signal to my biology that I'm safe. I can heal. I can repair. I'm not in a state of danger that requires me to be in survival mode and not heal, right? So that's being barefoot, shaken, listening, looking. I'm getting the light in my eyes that sets up all those things we talked about. And sometimes when I need to, I tone or hum. And we're resonant chambers, if you think about it, like our lungs, our nasal cavities, our throats. We really reverberate that sound. And research has shown that it increases nitric oxide, helping with oxygenation status in the body. It increases dopamine, that focus and drive, motivation, serotonin, that calm hormone in the body, increases oxytocin. It even increases melatonin, that master antioxidant. So it helps with inflammation, sort of that overall umbrella that happens in all disease states and pain, right? And so that's as easy. I mean, that can take 5 minutes. And that's it. And look at that's affecting your hormones, your immune system, metabolism, your nervous system, your state of inflammation, your mood, your mental outlook. And it's 5 minutes. And beyond all those things and all the science, I love it. I love hearing those birds. I love seeing the sun. I feel literally embraced by it. And there is no replacement for that.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And, even the people in apartments, they can see the sun.
Yeah.
People in the apartments, they can put their feet on a patch of grass, and if they don't, get a pemf mat or something and just connect as much as you can to nature. I'm really inspired by that. And I taught a somatic class, and one of the lectures was the science of nature. And I talked about all of it's as if everything we ever needed for medicine is accessible for free. And we spend thousands of dollars looking elsewhere. And so your experience, there's no measurement. It's more potent than so many supplements can be, even medications can be. It's you outside in coherence with light, grounding, sounds, fresh air. All of those signals have profound effects to our system from a physical level to a quantum level. So I want the viewers and listeners, like, if you were looking for some sophisticated, like do a handstand and breathe this way, that's not it.
Yeah.
We're just telling you the basic fundamental stuff that if you don't have this and good sleep with the light signals, then you have nothing. You have no foundation to build on.
Yeah.
And I'm so inspired that you really just laid it to us straight. You laid it to us straight. Amongst all of your work, is there anything that you want to share that we may have missed that is really mind-blowing to you, or any take-homes or anything that you want to just lay your heart on the table before we wrap it up?
Well, I think we covered so much. And the only piece we didn't cover is what is the bridge for all this frequency information. And that's water.
What is the bridge?
Yep.
Water.
I believe water is the bridge.
Is the bridge for how do you explain that? What does water do that bridges frequency, cellular signals, overall health?
Absolutely. So the water inside our body, when it comes up against our cells, our fascia, our DNA, our mitochondria, it takes on a different structure. So all of those things are hydrophilic. They're water loving. So they don't push the water away. Mm-hmm. They allow the water to come right up to the surface. And when it does, something incredible happens. It changes structure. And this is the work of Gerald Pollack and his team out of the University of Washington. But many others have replicated it across the globe. And this discovery that there is a different phase of liquid water is really important when we're talking about biology, because this water changes organization. It becomes more viscous, more gel-like, and he proposes, takes on this hexagonal shape, like a honeycomb, like this lattice of hexagons. And it builds in infrared energy. And we have infrared energy, the biggest source is the sun, but also when we move, when we breathe, that's infrared energy. And that's what's building this liquid crystal, he calls it exclusion zone or EZ water, against our cells, our mitochondria, our fascia. And it builds this zone of water, which is negatively charged, just like the negative charge that we require for vitality and function. And as it builds, it kicks out a positively charged hydrogen or a proton. And it creates what researchers are calling a proton wire or a proton-rich zone. So you have this water that's right on the cell that's negatively charged, has a different organization. Right outside of that is this positively charged water. And that separation of charge, just like the separation of charge in a 9-volt battery, can create potential energy. And Pollack in the lab put an electrode in this negatively charged water and one in the positively charged water. And it was enough to light an LED light bulb. Absolutely incredible. So we have this water within us that can create energy, but it also acts as a receiver for this frequency information. And it can also create this sea of free electrons. And electrons, we think of them like billiard balls, right? Like, okay, you've got the electron going around in the atom, but really they're a wave of energy. So there's a way to look at the body where pain, inflammation, disease, symptoms, they're all a deficiency in negative electrical charge. So this water that creates this network in the body has this potential to not only create negative electrons, negative electrical charge, but also a network to transfer it where it needs, where there is an energy deficiency in the body. And when we look at water, I mean, the research of like Veda Austin or Masaru Emoto, looking at the research of Luc Montagnier, Jacques Benveniste, this idea that water can hold frequency. It can hold electromagnetic frequency. It can hold light frequency. It can hold sound frequency. It can hold magnetic frequency. And so this idea of this water battery inside of us being able to donate energy where there's an energy deficiency in the body. And we can look at pain, we can look at trauma, physical, psychological, all of those things as a buildup of positive charge, a deficiency in electrical charge. So it's incredible to appreciate that water. And that means be hydrated.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Is it a special type of water, or is it drinking water with your feet on the ground?
Yeah.
Or just drinking water?
Yeah. That's the basis of it. The foundation of it is be hydrated.
So be
right?
hydrated. But so if we're just drinking enough water, of any water, let's say, is that water creating that honeycomb shape with that positively charged hydrogen on the outside always? Is that part of just how we consume water and interacts with our system? Or again, do we have to be exposed to nature and grounding when we do it?
Great question. Yeah. So there's a couple things. We want that water to get into our cells, right?
Yeah.
So many people are drinking lots of water and they're going and peeing all the water out, right? It's not getting into those cellular spaces. So just like we learned in middle school chemistry, osmosis, some mineral content to the water can be really helpful for hydration, right? Getting that water where it needs to be. And then all of this stuff we've been talking about, grounding, being exposed to that electrical charge, getting out in the sun, our emotional status, mitochondrial function and health, all of those things have the potential to build this specialized water in the body. So it's all interconnected. But without that piece, without that understanding, I think we're missing a piece of...
Big time.
Yeah.
I love that you dropped that in there before we closed out. How do people find you or learn more about you or connect with your work?
Absolutely. Well, I'm Dr. Catherine Clinton. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube at that. I've got a new book coming out that is available for pre-orders now. It's called Optimize, and you can find it Amazon, Barnes & Noble, so many different places. But you can head to my website at drcatherineclinton.com/optimize.
Amen.
And I've got a pre-order special, so you can get a bunch of different goodies when you pre-order.
Hell yeah. Everybody go get it. Everybody go get it. You want to learn about the mitochondria, the easy water, the quantum healing. I mean, like, this is the next step in understanding your relationship to your body and each other and the world and God and nature, all of the things, all in one book. So check it out. Thank you for coming on the show. I love your work. You are a pioneering naturopathic doctor, and I can see myself in your passion. So I feel that we're connected in that, but we're always connected anyway. Thank you very much, Doc.
Thank you so much for having me. It was an absolute pleasure.
Amen.